Hi, friends. I just wanted to do a little video about these times we're in. And there's some stress going on because we don't know what's going on. And even the information we do know, we do get, it's poop, whatever, I mean, like, not even necessarily good information. So it seems to me like there's this time frame of a few weeks to maybe 3 months, best case scenario. And so I think it's just good to look at that because even if there's 3 weeks or 3 months of disruption, that's still worst case scenario for a lot of us. Um, so imagine, kids are going to be staying at home, they're going to be safe at home. And of course, parents are going to have to stay at home. Somebody's going to have to stay at home. And there's a lot of workplaces that don't have OSHA, style. Like they aren't following rules. And um, so it's probably even best to stay at home. And yeah, it's crazy. Like what's going to happen? People do not have a month, extra month's rent around. So I don't know what's going to happen. And there's, I mean, hopefully some sort of um, something will work out about mortgages and whatnot. But let's say uh, there's like three weeks or 3 months of disruption. And so people are not going to be maybe taking care of whatever is needed for the internet and stuff. And so if you didn't have internet access, what do you need to do now? Do you have your most important telephone numbers written down? Do you have a phone book? Do you have your best friend's phone number or your spouse's phone number memorized? Your kid's number, your parents? So make sure you have the information that you need because your phone's not going to be. You may need to just have a backup, and maybe this is being over prepared, but it couldn't hurt. It couldn't hurt to just make sure you have the five important phone numbers that matter to you, and get people's addresses to write a card, to write a letter, because you might have more time on your hands because your internet's not going to be maybe accessible. You know how sometimes you're stranded at a bus station or a train station, and sometimes there's not Wi-Fi or whatever. So you've done it before, and even if you haven't done it ever, there's somebody else who has. And so, like, what's your favorite book? Like, is there a book you've always wanted to read? And I get the sense that we're going to have electricity for sure, or I shouldn't even say for sure, but if there was movies or CDs or podcasts that you'd like to download, uh, what would those be? What would be, maybe 10 hours of material? What's something you've wanted to study or a craft that you wanted to learn? This is the time to collect those things just in case. And who knows, maybe everything is going to be fine. I mean, even now, things are fine. I don't know anybody with the coronavirus. I had tularemia, which I think is probably even worse than the coronavirus because you see people, I mean, some people seem they're but I don't know, the coronavirus is whatever. I don't know what to make of it, but stuff is definitely happening. People are having a reaction, and so how do you make the best of it? So, uh, so collect things to take care of your peace of mind. Buy a journal, um, get your art supplies. Maybe you can do some drawing or some painting. Get your Bible. Maybe it's time to look at the book of Revelation, perhaps the last book of Revelation, which is seeming to predict everything that's going on. proving that Jesus is real, in my opinion. And you know, maybe it's time to declutter the house, declutter the garage, declutter your book collection, declutter your art supplies, uh, you know, and also look into community events. So uh, you know, if the internet is down and people are not allowed to go to work, kids aren't allowed to go to school, stuff people have to have stuff to do. So what did people do before technology was keeping us all sequestered, all atomized, balkanizing us, making us hate, oh, the vegan doesn't like the raw foodist, who doesn't like the high temperature raw foodist, or, you know, um, what did people do? What, what did kids do? They played outside, in the street, in parks, and adults went for walks and they chatted with people. People are probably going to do a little bit more drinking, probably, you know. So how can this be a fun time? Like, um, you know, some of us have been in earthquakes or other minor disasters, so it wasn't like this horrible memory blocking out kind of a thing. And I've been in minor earthquakes, and it really shakes people up. It really makes you look at your life. And this is an opportunity, and we have such an opportunity to approach this best way possible. It's not like it crept up on us. You know, we've been hearing about this since like December or January, and it's March now. So of course, yes, people have, and please, people, teach your children to cover their mouth when they have a phlegmy cough and they're coughing. Okay, like people over 50 can die from getting this bug. And I know your child is the most precious thing in the world and more important than anybody else, and your child's ego is more important than anybody else. And if people have to die so your child can cough freely, okay, you know, if that's how you feel. And for anybody else who has some common sense, please encourage children to cover their mouths when they cough, and uh, encourage parents to teach their children to cover their mouths when they're coughing. Um, and I know I'm offending all the parents watching this, and I'm not trying to do shaming or whatever. It's just like I don't understand what this some sort of weird entitlement kind of thing where parents think that their child doesn't have to have manners. And there was a reason why we had manners. And but maybe I guess maybe that's too traditional. Maybe it's too moralistic to ask parents or to ask children to cover their mouth when they are coughing. And I mean coughing with like a lot of phlegm, you know, like it's not just it's like you know. So tell me what you think, folks. Like, is it unethical to ask a parent who is oblivious about their kid coughing, who does not have that practice in their repertoire? Like, what do people do? What should a family member do if another family member is, you know, the parent of a child, and the child is not has not been taught to cover their cough? Do families say something, or if it's happening in a store and there's people in the store, you know, is it, you know, should a stranger mention it, or should the store manager mention it? And the thing is, I'm not, you know, yeah, I know I'm sounding like upset about manners, but if somebody dies because the parent just doesn't want to teach their kid to cover their mouth, or the parent thinks that they deserve to not have to protect the public, or maybe the parent wants people to die. I mean, there are videos on YouTube of people in China Chinese people spitting on the elevator buttons, spitting on people, people who are infected with the coronavirus, spitting on people, trying to infect people. And the thing is, this virus, it stays on for hours. Like, so when your baby, when your little sweetums, your 3-year-old, 4-year-old, 5-year-old is coughing all over at the grocery store, which is where he was at. I was at the health food store. The kid was coughing all over the beverages. This is not going to go away. They don't have an air filtration system. They don't have like a UV light thing. So all of those beverages are now coughed on. And who's going to a health food store? You know, like the people who are the target for this are over 50. So it's not going to be a bunch of little kids that are going to buy water or that are going to buy, ginger or coconut water. No, it's people older. And and it's really unfortunate. But so what do we do? Like, what is the win-win way? Do we just let kids cough all over, or people, maybe adults coughing all over the place? I mean, how do we work this out? So sorry for going on about that. It's just kind of distressing, because I know we live in this world where everybody is just keeping their heads down, they're keeping quiet, they're putting up with injustice, and yet paying lip service to, oh yeah, I volunteer at the ASPCA, or I volunteer in Timbuktu to save these people's health or their salvation or whatever. So people will do their virtue signaling. They'll say how they're doing their work or whatever, but then people don't speak up about, like, they don't take care of maybe the person right in front of them, like some homeless person right in front of them, or their coworker who's being like picked on by their boss, or their friend who's being picked on by a teacher. Everybody's just so shut down. And I mean, and then we get the society we deserve, it seems. So if I could delete the past like 5 minutes, I would, because I know it would um, make this better. But my point is, we have ample time to plan for maybe a 3-week, 3-month let's say there's no internet and everybody's at home. So like maybe learning how to play charades, playing Pictionary. Those are fun games. So brainstorm about things to do to occupy your time. That's constructive. So I'm kind of like, I know there's other things that we, that are coming up to your mind, but I'm like, the reason why I think this reset is happening is because of kind of just, it's a more neutral way of saying it. Like there's secret societies that have been doing bad things, and it seems to me from what I'm watching and reading that this is to contain various like mafias and stuff like that. And so the safest place for us to be is in our own home, not to be stranded somewhere when then some national emergency is called and stuff. So, but we get stir crazy if we're indoors. Unfortunately, it's at least it's springtime. It's so nice that it's not happening in the winter. So it will be nice to be outside, and I do think people need to get outside. They need to get some sun exposure, make sure they're getting fresh air, make sure to move, and yeah, don't hang out with coughing children. And if your kid is coughing, that kid needs to wear a mask. And if you are coughing, you need to wear a mask, just out of consideration for other people. Uh, so anyway, make sure you have your phone numbers, make sure you have your food and your water and your medications and just all of your necessities. And I have a feeling that things are going to be okay. It's going to be interesting. It's definitely interesting now. And also, make sure to pray. Find your church or find your Bible, and um, you know, just make the most of it. So thank you so much for watching, and God bless.